All right, fellas, end of the season, end of 2023 high school stuff. We'll start it off in boys basketball. Langsburg Xander Woodruff looks like he's on his way to a second consecutive all-state status. Hit for 41 in their 10-point win over Fowler. Think of that. 41, man. And he's fun to watch, man. Left-hander, lanky, just
I'm
well deserved in that all-state recognition.
I'm telling you, one of the most fun matchups of this upcoming year in your area, Ted. And it's a bummer you're going to be in Vegas, man.
I
Is going to
know.
be Freeland versus, and we're going to talk about Freeland in a minute. It's going to be Freeland versus Lanesburg. I mean, Freeland has a kid similar to a Xander that can just fill it up in Wilson Huckabee. So that could be a couple of 30 balls going back and forth in that game. It really could be.
Well, I have a good idea that we can discuss off air and maybe put something on social media perhaps for that game, but we'll talk more about that.
So basically, Ted's going to ask you to Facebook.
Yeah, that's
live,
what that meant.
Facebook
Well,
Live the game so he can watch.
I'm thinking maybe a team of Jared and Casey. Why not?
I was going to say, if in Smitty did throw that idea out because he went to the game, Freeland versus Saginaw Heritage.
Yeah.
I would not do play-by-play. If I was color, I would be down for that.
He's a seasoned play-by-play guy
sure.
now. You guys be a great team, man. So think about it. Also continuing on, as Jared thinks, Mason Struck hit for 30 as Chesaning beat Mount Morris, and last night the Indians down over at Elsie in double overtime to improve to 7-0 on the season. Corunna got a win over Armada, 64-23. Wow, their basketball team, Armada, not nearly as good as their football team. Brevin Belor had 19 with 5 triples, and by the way, send a little love out to one of our sponsors, Jim Woodworth and Success Group Mortgage, giving away $50 for every 3-pointer made by the Cavaliers this season to the Corunna Foundation. So, I mean, that could be a pretty big chunk of change by the time this season is over with.
It could be.
Especially if you got kids making 5 3-pointers in a game. I mean, get a few of those down the stretch, and Woodworth might be bankrupt.
Somehow I doubt it. Lake Fenton down Corunna previously 56-53. Logan Vol had 19 and lost there. Byron's Owen Thomas lit up Lakeville for 31 and the Eagles 68-38. W. Perry, they downed Bath 45-22. DJ Jenks having a nice season. He had 22. It was Durand over New Lothrop 51-34. Markel Tate 15 for the Railroaders. And I'll lead right into this for you, Jared. Saginaw Heritage down Freeland last night in a matchup of unbeatens. How was that game? It looked like that field house or whatever it's called. What a beauty.
It's been dubbed the mini Breslin. I mean, I sent you the picture of kind of the press row that they had. I mean, it's like when you die and you go to heaven, Ted, knock on wood, hopefully it's heaven.
Hopefully it's a while from now, too.
That's going to be the setup waiting for you courtside. It was like a little press row, almost like a college game, right on the court. Nice little big table, just waiting for you to call some games from. It was. I mean, Heritage is loaded, man. I mean, Tyler O'Day, their stud guy who Sam Ali kind of told us about a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Toledo commit. Wow. I mean, talk about a shooter. Can make it from. I mean, I don't know how many 3-pointers he ended up with. Probably 4 or 5. He can fill it up, and really, the great way to describe him is just smooth. I mean, it's funny when you see kids that are really, really good. It's like they're not even trying. It's like it felt like he wasn't even breaking a sweat out there. And I mean, he definitely was playing hard, but it just when you're that good, it just looks like it's effortless.
Yeah.
But they're a loaded team. I mean, Class A, I would honestly think that they have a legit shot to make a push to the Breslin. I mean, I don't know their exact path and what that would look like, but you would think coming from Saginaw area, they'd probably dodge some of those Detroit teams, maybe dodge some of those Grand Rapids teams, and have a legit chance to make it there. They're talented. I mean, they have Braylon Isom, the wide receiver who's going to Miami of Ohio, set all sorts of records for them on the football field this year. And he had like 3 or 4 thunder dunks that brought that mini Breslin center, to their feet. So, but Freeland, I mean, a good little battle tested game for Freeland. I mean, they're young, a couple of really good players that are sophomores on Freeland. Wilson Huckabee is one, Tristan Comer is another one. So, I mean, they got a lot of growth to be had. And I mean, Freeland's still a pretty damn good team. I mean, undefeated heading into that game, big wins over Mount Pleasant, big wins over Grand Ledge. So a big learning experience. And I mean, everything that they want to accomplish this year is still ahead of them. Conference, district, whatever run they want to try to make come March. So
yeah,
really fun game, really good environment, great crowd. It was kind of the perfect swirl of where it was Christmas break for those schools. So you had a really good crowd. You had a lot of the former players from the Freeland Breslin team from a couple years ago were there watching. So still a good game, and like I said, good kind of learning experience for Freeland and kind of opened my eyes a little bit to how talented Saginaw Heritage is. And if you're them, I mean, you're thinking Breslin or bust. I would imagine they're loaded.
Yeah. Well, I see Freeland has another Huckabee on their team, had 21.
Yeah.
He must have been their main man, huh?
And how that game played out, I mean, I think Freeland ended up losing by, I mean, probably pretty close to 40 is what it ended up being. But I mean, it was a 12-point game at half. And really the backbreaker that kind of separated them heading into the second half was Wilson Huckabee came out red hot. I think he was 4 for 5 from 3-point land in the first quarter, keeping Freeland close. And then O'Day, just kind of as the game sort of went along, Freeland cut it to 9 with like maybe 5 seconds left in the first half. Saginaw Heritage quickly inbounds it. Wouldn't you know it? That kid finds the ball, launches it from Steph Curry range, buries it, lets out a nice little LeBron James scream as the crowd just erupts around him. So that was a really cool moment. Not for me. I didn't enjoy it, but definitely kind of set the tone heading into that second half. And Heritage just came out. I think they had maybe like a 10-0 run. And then it was just off the races from there.
Yeah.
So the score is maybe a little bit misleading. I mean, I think Heritage is definitely the better squad, but it was a close first half that just over time, I think Freeland just got a little bit gassed and Heritage just kind of pulled away with all the talent they had.
Those are always cool environments in high school basketball during Christmas break, when some college kids are back, when everyone's off school. Tuesday night, I don't know, especially at a venue like that. Your picture was pretty amazing. That looks like a cool spot.
And we talk all the time, how awesome. I mean, we just spent a whole fall talking about Corona and all that football run. There's really not really anything like the atmosphere of a packed high school gym in a big time game. Yeah. It's loud. It's I mean, even in that game, there was still some open seats and it still was loud as hell. And you get a lot of that, on the football field on Friday nights, but nothing quite like that, atmosphere of a high school game where it's going back and forth and you're living and dying on every single shot. I think there really is something special to be said about those environments.
Yeah, there is. And you, again, back to the gym. I just love those. I call it field houses with stands behind each basket too. I mean, I just think that's the way to build a gym, man.
And it's brutal, man. I mean, these sorry to cut you off, Matt, real quick. That point, they had both the student sections behind each of the baskets.
Yes.
So I'm like thinking of these kids shooting free throws, man. This is tougher to make free throws at this level than it is to make them like in the NBA with like the distractions you have.
Right.
Like, it's like they're right underneath the hoop, just going nuts.
Love it.
Really cool.
Yep.
All right, well, we'll finish up this prep spotlight with a little bit more. In girls basketball, Ovid Elsie down New Lothrop, 53-46 in a battle of unbeatens. Ava Bates led the way with 16. Evelyn Cole put up 30 as the Marauders stayed perfect with a 67-47 win over Chesaning last night. We are recording this on Wednesday night, by the way. Morris over New Standard Academy, 58-30. Aubrey Rogers, 31 in that one. And Corona got their first victory of the season. Downing Birch Run, 41-38. Maddie Wright tossed in a dozen. We'll finish this segment up with just a little wrestling story. Ovid Elsie in the battle of coaching brothers, Perry's Jason Spies beat Ovid Elsie's boss, Kyle Spies. They're grapplers, 54-27. And on that night, Perry honored their 1973 state championship squad. That's pretty cool right there.
That's cool.
50 years after you come home and, get introduced out in front of the crowd. That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
All right, that'll do it. The Prep Spotlight brought to you by Jacobs Insurance Agency. We'll be back, talk a little Lions and a few other sports topics right after this.
Jacobs Insurance Agency has served Shiawassee County and the surrounding areas since 1977. Just like 3 Point Podcast, we've had 3 generations: Gary Jacobs Sr., Gary Jacobs II, Brian Jacobs, and myself, Noah Jacobs, serving our community with offices in Waterford and Owasso on M21, just west of Home Depot. Stop in or go online to jacobsinsurance.com to get a quote or get your questions answered by our team. Jacobs Insurance is a proud supporter of our local schools and the proud sponsor of the Prep Spotlight. Insure everything, local, independent, and trusted. It's our family working together to protect yours. That's the Jacobs way.